Welcome to the Sound Healer. My name is Rasa Priya, and today I'd like to speak about how to set up a sound healing session. Some of you may know I'm an administrator for Sound Healing in Harmony, a Facebook group, and it really caters to a lot of people getting into the business of sound healing, discovering who they are, their relationship with sound healing. So this video, and I get a lot of questions regarding this all the time. How do I go about my setup? So I want to start by saying there is no right and there's no wrong. There's no one way to do it, and anything you can do is wonderful. I've seen sound healings being performed on the beach, live, really beautiful situation, all natural. Matt Porter, he does one in the cave, which is really something. And Rebecca, she does one in the salt cave, beautiful. At yoga studios and simple rooms, simple situations. And then I've seen them also done in great cathedrals, great, beautiful churches with pristine setup. They all have their place and effect. So if you don't have access to some elaborate situation, it's okay. Really be you. And that's the most important thing, is we're trying to discover our own authenticity. So let your setup represent that. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and speak on the wide variety of setups. Again, not to really promote one way or another, but just to give you an idea, an overview of how to consider your setup. So one of the first things I do when I'm setting up is, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I doing a simple sound healing? Am I going to someone's house for a quick 15-minute meditation? If so, it might be a very simple setup. I might bring 3 bowls. Am I doing something a little bit more, like a 45-minute journey somewhere, again, at a friend's party? It might be bowls and gongs. Am I getting serious about it? You know, what am I doing? It might be a lot more. So let's take a look at the various ways. I'm going to go over some tips and things on how you can improve your setup. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. If you have anything, if I say something wrong or I forget to mention something, please say it in the comments. We'd love your participation. My intention is really to distribute information freely and just share. It's time right now. The world needs us, and sound is such a beautiful way to go about this. So, thank you. So let's take a look at this first setup. This is a real basic, simple setup. Just a basic gong and some simple bowls. And it's very simple, right? Now, one thing to notice is something that I think is very important is symmetry. You know, and that's a very subjective experience, right? So what I think symmetry does, our eyes naturally want to experience symmetry. When we look at somebody and we're attracted to them and we perceive them as beautiful, you'll find oftentimes there's symmetry. Their eyes are the same on both sides. Their nose is centered, their mouth. Balance and harmony are something that we are attracted to. And that's why we seek self-improvement. We try to make things right in the world that have been wronged. We try to bring balance automatically. It's part of who we are. So when you're setting up, consider symmetry. I'm going to rearrange these bowls for a second just to show you, and let's see what you think. Okay, I'm going to make it asymmetrical. Again, there's no right and wrong, but let's just see what it does to the presentation. Okay, nothing wrong with that again. But you could see that even with the simple design of just gongs and bowls, symmetry can be important. Now you'll notice in this presentation, our bowls are placed symmetrical, but look at the levels of our tops. This bowl over here, right here, has a slight tilt to the side. Again, it's not the end of the world, and probably doesn't even really affect things, especially when they're all laying down, closing their eyes. But when my clients first walk in, those subtle things, those things that I pay attention to, all the subtle details, in my opinion, they enhance the moment. If I put that level of care and attentiveness into my service towards them, what does that say? What does that do energetically? So it really establishes the intention of holding space and really caring for an individual deeply, not just superficially. Yeah, pay me my money, come on in, lay down, I'll give you a nice thing. Great. But what have I done prior that they'll never know, they'll never see? Have I done enough? Now what I'd like to do is add an instrument or two just to see what it looks like. Okay, so there we go. Added a couple of instruments. I wanted to turn on the lights and show you the lights inside the bowls. That's another really popular question that I get, is how do you guys light up your bowls? And I'll show you that in a second. So this is a basic presentation, a basic setup. It's functional, it will work. It's got some symmetrical components to it, so it's nice and balanced. And it's just a basic idea of one way to start your setup. I want to show you the lights that I use for the bowls. So I use this. As you can see, you can make these all kinds of different colors. You can make this all kinds of different colors. And they fit right inside the bowl. They charge USB charger. And they're really nice. They're very reliable, very inexpensive. I think they're about like $9 or $10 each. And just a really good way to go. Sometimes when playing, we do have to pull them out in order to decrease the vibration, especially on the bigger bowls that vibrate heavily. When big bowls are vibrating, we pull these out during the session. No one ever notices, so just something to let you know. So this is my home studio setup. This is my full setup that I offer on a continuous basis for clients that come. They can come for a small group session, up to 5 people, and I also do privates, even one-on-one sessions, and sometimes shamanic sessions as well, all here. So you can see this is a pretty elaborate setup, including a sound system. It's got the standard gongs and bowls, some chimes and different things. It has a few instruments, didgeridoo up above the gong there, a sarod, tambura, guitar, Native American drum, Native American flute, different things. Different things. What I like in this presentation is its symmetry. You'll notice the gongs on each side of the room in the corners, so it gives it this nice balanced look. And the bowls are, of course, on the right and the other instruments on the left. And it just really gives an interesting, I wonder what they're going to do. When people first step into the studio, they make their very first impression. That is what I'm after. What is their experience? When they walk into this space, what do they experience, feel, perceive, and subconsciously expect? It kind of sets up the whole mood. So you can see I put a lot of care and attention and detail into this. Even the wires are hidden with all the electronics. You can't see the wiring. So I've gone through a lot of time and effort establishing this. When we do gigs at the Grand Wailea or corporate events, of course, our setup is really dependent on them. And a lot of times when we're setting up in venues, we have to accept some of the things that are less desirable. Maybe there's a window, maybe there's a piece of equipment or something that doesn't look so, beautiful. But anyways, whatever situation you're in, try to find that place of beauty. Try to find that artistic space within it. So when your person comes in and the first thing they do is experience, how did you set up? What was your intention? So I'm gonna look at these sections a little closer, just so you can see. Okay. So this is the sound. So you can see I got my soundboard here, along with my speakers. And these speakers are battery operated. I like to use battery operated speakers just to hide the wiring. As musicians, you probably know, when you're up on stage, there's just wires everywhere. It's really hard to get rid of the clutter, but in my opinion, that clutter, it just takes up space mentally. People are seeing that and they're experiencing things, maybe the clutter in their own lives. They're reminded of certain things, certain triggers. So I like to eliminate all possible input from things that don't serve the space. So you see I've got lighting, I've got some backlights and front lights. I like both. And that's basically, I got my instruments over here, my Native American drum. I like to have the didge right on top there of the gong. And the bowl section. Another thing I wanted to mention about the setup is your flow. You want to make sure that your setup is conducive to a nice flow. You want to be able to move around easily, to do your transitions without interruption, without a lot of fumbling around. You want to have a smooth way of moving about while you're giving your sound healing sessions. So that's why you'll see, of course, the bowls are all together, right? They're all in one section. And then I have the handheld here that I can transition and use. I normally would keep the chimes here, but I have them on the other side for a very specific reason. So the flow is a big consideration. Like one of the transitions that I do is if I'm on to bowls, I'm doing bowls, I'm doing the bowls, and I want to transition. I want to do so effortlessly and quietly. So flow is a big consideration. How you set your flow up, your work area, your work direction really can also influence how you choose to set things up. Beauty is a subjective experience, yes. And if someone walks into your situation, to your sound healing, and right off the bat they're experiencing beauty, they become a yes. Yes to whatever is going to be shared. Yes. So if you can find your own sense of beauty, what does that mean for you? How do you express beauty? How do you express art? How do you express what appeals to your heart, to your creativity? Find that. Find what is unique to you. What separates you from others in your creative expression? If you can determine that, if you can decipher that and find that out for yourself, then really allow that to be present in your sound healing situation. I know for me that I feel like this really represents my life's work. I spent years learning North Indian classical music, guitar. I spent many years learning all kinds of mantras, chants. So this configuration, this sound healing configuration, really embodies a lot of my life work, a lot of who I am. I was a respiratory therapist and I'm an educated nurse. I worked in the medical field for over 30 years. So I really studied death, dying, cause and effect, and really found what seems to be common amongst those who are sick, amongst those who are ill. And in the Western perspective, we simply treat very superficially what's in front of us, the symptoms, the lab values, etc. That's our focus. We never really go after what is the real cause. Sure, we think, oh yeah, if you smoke, you'll get lung cancer. But what makes you smoke? What gives you that perpetuation to seek that for yourself? What puts you in a habituated pattern of smoking daily or more than once or twice a day or whatever it is? So all those things That's what I'm after. What is it? What are the root causes? Can we affect those root causes? And I can say honestly, the answer is yes. 100%? No. But sometimes, yes. Thank you. I hope this is helpful. And again, if you have any ideas or comments on content that you'd love to see, please send me a note and I will do my best. Have a great day. Aloha.